guys, it's Olivia and welcome back to Live in Literature. Thank you so much for all the love and support I received in my last video, and if you have not seen it yet, feel free to head on over to my channel to check it out. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed last week's video about crazy and insane plot twists. This week we have kind of a switch up on the topics and something that I saw recently as some discourse online in the book talk community and booktube community, and it was really interesting and it kind of made me really sit down and think about like what I want to talk about today.
And something interesting about me, well, I'm a smart woman.
And as you see from the title today, we have book recommendations, feminine female MCs or main characters.
But I really love being a woman and being a female artist, I do.
I don't love using the term feminine to describe what I'm trying to describe, but I'm going to do my very best. So just to give you a little background, I was watching a TikTok the other day from the creator. Oh, I can't remember her name, but I'll like tag her TikTok down below. You can go and watch her stuff. She has post some amazing recommendations. But something that I was noticing from her video is that something that she talked about, and she talked about it from another book talker online, was that like we are seeing a shift in fantasy that I am absolutely loving. I'm loving this shift into more like feminine female characters. So I feel like for a while we had like the early 2000s was like, or early 2000s, 2010s, like vibes of like female characters was the most bland, boring, no personality. Like they were just blank slates, like practically zombie women.
It means if you were smart, you'd stay away from me.
Okay, well, let's say for argument's sake that I'm not smart. Would you tell me the truth?
No, probably not.
Who just like did whatever guys did, and it was always like a love triangle kind of thing. Then we leveled up into like what I would consider into like the 2016 to like 2019, 2020 of it all, of like the bad A female character. I'm talking Aelin Galathinius. I'm talking Feyre Archon. Or whatever her name is. Feyre. I'm talking about Bryce Quinlan. I'm talking like Sarah J. Maas of it all. I'm talking like bad A women who like come to get down to business.
Let's get down to business.
With extremely complex backgrounds, extremely complex like trauma and things to overcome, and extremely like very like at the forefront of these books. Like they are running the book. They are powerful, they are strong, they are fighters, they are warriors. And now I feel like we're entering a new era, and also one that's like been kind of coming up more and more as the years have gone by, of more feminine, quote unquote feminine female characters. And I loved the discourse online basically talking about how like I want to see more of like the women who are like strong in other ways other than like being a warrior, being a leader, and like those kinds of things. It almost goes back to the like Rachel Ziegler of it all with the whole Snow White bit. If anyone remembers that, I'm going to insert a clip.
Prince. She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
It's kind of like that when she basically was saying that like she's like, no, our Snow White's a leader and a warrior. And like, she's not dreaming of true love and she's not happy. I was like, what's wrong with being a woman who wants to fall in love? Like, what's wrong with wanting to fall in love? What's wrong with wanting to be soft and like kind, and like your strengths come from like honesty, and your strength comes from just like being an independent, strong woman, but also not being like essentially like the warrior or like the leader or the captain or whatever. You know, I just kind of want to like lean a little bit more into like those kinds of feminine female characters and like really see them for who they are, just as strong, just as powerful, just as beautiful, just as like amazing and intelligent and all the things as are like warrior bad A like female characters. So it was really interesting to watch like and just kind of see what people said about it. And I feel like recently I've been reading some more things like just more recently like that have led me in more into like that soft and feminine female vibes. And so here are some book recommendations for you guys today that kind of are more about like the main characters, these female main characters who are more leaning into like their feminine side, quote unquote. Again, I think that female characters have come so far from like what they used to be, and they are incredible, like incredibly amazing, complex, diverse. And I don't think that just because a female character is quote unquote stated as like more feminine or more like soft, that she's not as complex, diverse, or strong as one who is like a bad A fighter.
Women, they have minds and they have souls as well as just hearts. and they've got ambition.
I just think that there's room for all of it in the book talk discourse and booktube discourse and whatever. And so I think we should give chances to all of our amazing female MCs. And so I can't wait to talk about some of my favorite feminine female MCs today of some incredible books to recommend for you guys. So let's get started. The first and most obvious recommendation of the bunch is going to be no shock to anyone. We have Rebecca Ross's A Divine Rivals. Duh. We knew it was coming. We knew I was going to talk about it. It's the book that no one can seem to shut up about, and that's for good reason.
Shut up, shut up, shut up!
I think that this book is one of the best books written in 2023. It's an incredible book about a young woman named Iris Winnow, who's a journalist, who essentially, like, it is an enemies to lovers, but essentially she decides to go to the war front to write for a rival newspaper company, to basically like post about like propaganda for like the war that's happening and get people to like get involved and stuff like that. I really like Iris Winnow because she's just very like, she has like really strong fortitude. She's just very like, knows who she is. She really wants to like do the right thing, but like, you know, she's not gonna like go lead the armies into battle, you know? She's just like, she's like, I can't do that, but like I can do my part, and my part is to write. Like, I'm a writer, I can write things to help support the cause. And the romance in this is just lovely, and I think that Roman and Iris really complement each other in this book, and I think that they're like really great like compliments to one another, and I think that they support each other well, and that this book like doesn't need some like ex machina, like bad A female to come in and like boom, destroy it all. Not that I don't love that, but like it's just about a girl who's trying to do her best in this like small little part that she's been given in the war. And I just adore it. I think that it's such an incredible book. I think everyone should read Divine Rivals. It's literally life-changing. The next one I want to recommend is from a really fun trilogy that I really, really enjoy. It's a great YA trilogy. It's called A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmer. Now, A Curse So Dark and Lonely is like a almost Beauty and the Beast style retelling, which like the girlies love a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I mean, who doesn't? It's kind of everything.
That hurts!
If you'd hold still, it wouldn't hurt as much.
Well, if you hadn't have run away, this wouldn't have happened.
If you hadn't frightened me, I wouldn't have run away.
But this one, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, is a really great trilogy about a young woman named Harper. This is like, I normally hate these kinds of fantasy books. Like, they make me kind of like queasy just to think about it. But essentially it takes place in like modern, like like Virginia, DC. She's in Washington, DC. Girl lives there, gets kidnapped. Her name's Harper. Gets kidnapped and taken to like a fantasy realm. Now, normally, like, I hate that. Normally that gives me the biggest ick. It's like, why are we doing this? Like, I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. Moving on.
I hate your hair and makeup today.
Okay, we all know it's kind of a cringy trope, but the book I actually feel like makes it work. Like, I actually feel like they made it work, and it actually is like very, very interesting. So, A Curse So Dark and Lonely essentially follows like a young girl named Harper. She's from DC. She gets kidnapped and brought into this fantasy realm where this prince who's under like a curse to essentially like try to fall in love with a girl, make a girl fall in love with him over the course of like a fall to like winter time like thing into spring. And essentially if he can't, then like the girl dies and he has to like find a new one. And he's been like in this eternal like prison of like trying to find new women in his kingdom. Now, essentially though, Harper, I think, is a great representation, though, for, like, more soft-spoken, more, like, I don't know what the frick is going on. Like, obviously, she's from DC, duh. Like, she's from modern times, so she doesn't know how to fight. She doesn't know how to, like, really, like, do anything with a sword. Like, she really can't, like, defend herself. And so she defends herself with her words. Like, she's got a great attitude. She really comes to play with her words. She kind of gives Ren, the prince, a, like, taste for, like, a pretty much a run for his money and really a taste of her mind. Like,
Please attempt to be a gentleman.
But she is being so difficult.
she really goes at him, and I think it really makes him see, like, the error of his ways and how he can be a better, like, prince/king to his kingdom. I love Harper. I also love that she's a great representation for people with disabilities. She has cerebral palsy, and it comes up a lot in this book. And so I think she's a great representation for people with disabilities as well, of being like, hey, I'm still leading a kingdom. Hey, I'm still trying to help as best I can, even in the crazy situation, even though I have cerebral palsy. And seriously, like, she's just fabulous. Like, I just love her. I think she's a great Spitfire, a really fun female character, and one that, like, doesn't need to be, like, laying siege on the battlefield to be amazing. I adore her, and I adore this trilogy. It's really fun if you're looking for something, like, soft and fun to jump into. The next one I want to recommend is a very fun, almost, like, gothic fantasy, more in that, like, Victorian-style drama. We have A Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. and I absolutely adore this book. This book is absolutely fabulous. We have a young woman named Elizabeth who essentially works as like, there's a name for it, but essentially she's like a nun working like as like a monk in the libraries. She's essentially like a protector of these grimoires, which are like magical books that hold like demons and special powers inside of them. So she wants to become a warden someday in these like amazing libraries all throughout like the country. And one day she gets like, essentially she accidentally like implicates herself into like a grimoire that like went wrong. And so she's on the run because people are chasing her because they think that she started it. And she's like, I didn't start it. And she essentially has to team up with like her rival enemy, a sorcerer named Nathaniel Thorn. Oh my gosh, he's fabulous. And so essentially she gets entwined in this like centuries old curse of the Nathaniel Thorne estate and Nathaniel's family. And they essentially find out that it's linked to this like these grimoires that are all like attacking the libraries and essentially setting them up in flames. So again, like a very much like a spooky kind of a gothic, kind of a sweet like romance. Obviously she's essentially a librarian. Like she takes care of books. And I feel like whenever you have a character in a book who like takes care of books, they're like the softest, the sweetest, the most like kind-hearted. They understand how like us readers feel about like being in a library and in a bookstore and how sacred it is, like the sacred texts and things. I just love it. It makes my heart soar. And so I absolutely adore A Sorcery of Thorns for those reasons. This is like a fun YA gothic fantasy. I love a little gothic Victorian moment. This one has a lot of it, and the romance between Nathaniel and Elizabeth is fabulous. I 1000% guarantee that you should check this one out. The next one is a very classic trilogy that has like taken the book talk world by storm, especially for like feminine female main characters. We have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Now, I feel like Stephanie Garber is a great advocate for like women just being women, like women doing the girly things. Like her books I feel like are very girly, very like whimsical, and very just like true to like, oh, magic and pretty things. And like, I just like love the whimsy of all of her books. This one especially is fabulous. This book is about a young woman named Evangeline Fox, who essentially is like, she's always believed in true love and happy endings until the moment that she finds out her true love, quote unquote, is getting married to another person. And she makes a deal with the Prince of Hearts to essentially stop the wedding. And he essentially tricks her into doing something completely different, and they go on this quest together to essentially like, she's trying to essentially like set herself free from his like grasp. I adore this book. If this book doesn't give absolute most feminine energy ever, I don't know what book would, because it literally is all about like a young woman who like fell in love. She just fell in love with someone and she wanted the Prince of Hearts to stop the wedding, and he tricked her. And so I feel like Evangeline Fox is fabulous. I absolutely adore her. I think she's a really fun like female character, very like Spitfire, very cute, and very much just like, people would consider it naive, but I like the hope of her. I like the hope of it all, and like the hope of her and her character of believing that like anything is possible, and that like good things can come from all things, like good things can come from this, and that she can have the happy ending that she wants. I adore Stephanie Garber. I feel like she does an incredible job writing female characters. And so I definitely recommend Once Upon a Broken Heart for this reason. The last two I want to recommend are two that I just finished like literally this week. And I am on the third one right now as we speak. It's a trilogy by Grace Draven. We have Phoenix Unbound and Dragon Unleashed. And this is for the Fallen Empire trilogy. Now, Grace Draven, I've talked about a little bit on this channel. She's fabulous. We love her. I recommended her books when I was talking about books to read when you're in a reading slump, because her books are quick and easy to read. I, again, would recommend these two to read if you're in a reading slump. Very quick and easy to read. But essentially, like, the first one, Phoenix Unbound, essentially follows, like, a young woman named Galeen. I think it's Galeen or Jalene, whatever. Galeen or Jalene, she essentially is being chosen. She gets chosen every single year from her village to participate in a thing called the Flowers of Spring, which is essentially a barbaric tradition where they essentially gather a group of women from every single like city in this country and burn them at the stake in spring as like a sacrifice to the gods. But Jalene has been chosen every single year for the past like, I would say decade, because she has a special ability where she can like escape this, and like she has special powers where she can escape the death every single time, but she keeps like redoing it over and over again. She essentially makes acquaintances with a young man who has been a prisoner of the prisoner of the Empire. He's been a prisoner of the Empire for like over a decade. He sees her a couple years in the past, and he essentially strikes a deal with her, like, help me escape from being a warrior in the games of this prison, and I won't tell anyone that you are that you're tricking them. And she's like, oh, I don't want to, but then she does. Anyways, this one's a great, like, enemies to lovers, but I would say some, like, Grace Draven, I feel like, again, writes very, like, feminine, very beautiful female characters. Like, Jeline is, like, she's, like, the thing she wants to do most in life is she just wants to get back to her family, and, like, she doesn't want to feel burdened to always be the person that has to participate in the Flowers of Spring rite. Like, it's awful, it's barbaric, it's disgusting. This book is gritty and gruesome, and, like, the Empire is so corrupt, it's, like, amazing, but also awful. And so she just is like a woman trying to get back to her people, and Azarian, the man who is in the prison as a warrior, he, like, essentially he takes her kindness as his advantage, but then they, like, eventually, like, work together. It's very beautiful. Same thing with Dragon Unleashed. This one has, like, I'm not going to give the full details, but, like, essentially each of the trilogies is based on a different couple. Very, like, it's Marissa Myers. Very Marissa Myers, like Cinder Chronicle vibes, or the Lunar Chronicle vibes. We have Cinder, you know, Scarlet, Cress, and then Winter. Each book is based, like, solely on, like, a different couple, but all the stories are intertwined. This is how this trilogy is too. And I actually love that idea of, like, having different couples and all of them having their own separate stories that, like, all connect together in this, like, fallen empire. Very beautiful, very fun. I absolutely adore it. I really just enjoy I've enjoyed this trilogy thus far. I'm literally on the third one as we speak. But, like, I love Jeline. I love Halani. She's a healer in this one. In this one, it's about a healer and a dragon man. Oh, I love a shapeshifter. So again, I would say that these two are both, like, very, like, feminine, very soft. These women are, like, obviously, like, hello, trying to take down this horrible empire, but doing it in their own way as, like, best as they can. And this is, like, hers through the trickery and the mockery of an empire, like, with her special powers. This one is through, like, the fact that she's harboring, like, a dragon, which is, like, against the rules, but she's a healer, and, like, again, that's also against the rules. Like, I just loving these, like, small stands against the empire that eventually, like, have a way bigger effect and a way bigger cause on taking down a corrupt empire. These are fabulous. I love Grace Draven. I've really enjoyed this trilogy thus far. It's literally fabulous. I'm on the last one. I'll have to let you know how that one is. But again, very, like, beautiful, feminine, like, doing the best that they can, very much, like, speaking their mind and, like, letting people know how it is, but taking control of their story. I just adore these books. They're absolutely fabulous. So that is all the book recommendations I have for you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe to the Living Literature YouTube channel. We've had a lot of new subscribers here recently, which has been so exciting. Please continue to subscribe, guys. We are so close to 600 subscribers. So crazy. I plan to do something really fun for the 600 subscriber giveaway that's going to be coming up soon. So please keep an eye out for that. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one. I love you guys. Bye.